New Deep Dive.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. If you've been following AI news, you've probably already heard the whispers, maybe even shouts about Elon Musk's XAI and their new model. It's making some really eye-popping claims. We're talking doctoral level intelligence. This is Grok 4, which just dropped on July 9, 2025. So our mission today is to pull back the curtain a bit and really unpack what makes Grok 4, stand out. Not just from older Grok versions, but from all the big competitors out there. We want to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights to help you understand its capabilities, which sound pretty impressive, but also its limitations and what this all means, practically speaking. To do this, we've sifted through a whole stack of sources, technical reviews, benchmark results, official announcements, the works, try and get you the full picture. So let's just jump right in.
Okay, the first thing that really grabs you is that claim from Elon Musk. He says Grok 4 achieves doctoral level reasoning in many fields, and get this, is smarter than most PhDs. Yeah, that's a huge claim. But what does reasoning actually mean when we talk about AI?
Like, how does a machine reason?
Right, it's a fair question. And it's fascinating how they define it here. Essentially, AI reasoning is the model's knack for tackling really complex problems, breaking them down into smaller bits, applying logic, checking its own work, and even finding creative solutions. Grok 4 actually has two modes for this. There's think mode, that's for methodical, sort of step-by-step analysis, think careful, deliberate thought. And then there's big brain mode. This one kicks in for deeper inference, really useful for tricky stuff like mathematical proofs or digging through complex scientific data. It also uses some pretty advanced reinforcement learning. Basically, it learns by trying, seeing what works, correcting mistakes, exploring alternatives. Much like how we humans solve tough problems, actually. Like, they gave examples of it solving complex Settlers of Catan scenarios, which involves a lot of strategy, believe me, or using chain of thought in games like tic-tac-toe. That just means breaking a problem down logically step by step instead of just, making a guess. And this whole self-evaluation thing, it's a big improvement over Grok 3.
Okay, think and big brain. And that's interesting. Can you give maybe a more concrete example? Like, when would big brain jump in where think might just get stuck? And that Settlers of Catan thing, what makes that game specifically such a good test, beyond just, playing a game?
Good questions. So think mode is great for problems you can map out sequentially, but imagine Grok 4 is looking at, say, a huge, messy scientific data set with gaps. It needs to figure out hidden connections or fill in missing info that isn't obvious. That's where big brain comes in, but it's deeper, more sort of associative thinking, connecting dots that aren't explicitly there. As for settlers, well, it's not just about moving pieces. It's resource management, probability, thinking ahead, even guessing what your opponents might do. It's a really dynamic, multi-layered puzzle. Grok 4 doing well there shows it can model these complex shifting systems and adapt its strategy, not just follow rules.
Okay, that makes sense. Impressive stuff. But, claims are one thing. How do we actually measure this doctoral level thinking? I assume it's down to benchmarks, rigorous tests.
Exactly. And Grok 4 hasn't just done well. It's actually set new records on several key benchmarks. This gives us, actual numbers to look at. Let's touch on a few standouts.
Right.
First, there's Humanity's Last Exam, or HLE. It's designed to test advanced academic problem solving. Grok 4 got 25.4% without using any external tools. But here's the kicker. The Grok 4 Heavy version, when allowed tools, hit a staggering 44.4%. Just for context, Gemini 2.5 Pro managed 26.9% with tools, and OpenAI's O3 got 24.9%. So that 44.4% from Grok 4 Heavy. That's a significant lead.
Wow, okay, 44%.
Then you've got ARC AGI 2. This one's widely seen as one of the toughest tests out there, really probing abstract reasoning and general intelligence potential. Grok 4 scored 15.9%. The previous leader, Claude Opus 4, was at 8.6%. Gemini 2.5 Pro, 4.9%. OpenAI O3. 6.5%. So nearly doubled the previous best score. It's a pretty big step, maybe towards AGI.
15.9.
Okay. In math, specifically the American Invitational Mathematics Examination for 2025, Grok 4 Heavy got a perfect score, 100%. Hitter Grok 4 still hit 98.8%. Compare that to OpenAI O3 at 98.4%, Gemini 2.5 Pro at 88%.
A perfect score on Amy. That's incredible.
And for physics, on the GPQA, that's graduate level physics questions, Grok 4 scored 87.5%, the heavy version 88.9%. That blows past GPT-4's 54% and Claude 3.5 Sonnet's 77%. And finally, coding. On Live Code Bench, Grok 4 got 79.3% with tools, beating Gemini 2.5 Pro's 74.2% and OpenAI o3's 72%.
Okay, those numbers are seriously impressive. A perfect score on AME. I mean, I remember trying things like that, getting half right for like a win, and 44% on HLE with tools still beating others. It really changes what study aids could mean, huh? But let's bring it back. What does all this mean for you listening right now? If you're not building AI, what do these high scores actually do for you in the real world?
That's the key question, right? For researchers, engineers, even business folks, these scores translate into some pretty tangible benefits, almost futuristic, really. Think about a small research lab. Testing hypotheses can take ages, cost a fortune. With something like Grok 4, you could potentially model and test hundreds of ideas in an afternoon. That could massively speed up discovery for engineers, analyzing huge data sets, finding optimal designs for complex systems, stuff that takes human teams weeks may be done much faster. It could even tackle Olympic-level math problems. There was this practical test, vending bench. Grok 4 basically managed to double the profit compared to other models by optimizing strategy. So it's not just theory, it's practical, real-world optimization.
So it's powerful, clearly, but it's also fast. How does it manage both the complex thinking and deliver results quickly?
Yeah, the speed is another big part of the story. And the secret sauce there is the hardware it runs on, the Colossus supercomputer. And this thing is, well, it's a beast. Over 200,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs. That's 3 times the computing power Grok 2 had, and like 10 times Grok 3. This massive infrastructure is what allows it to process so much data so quickly, doing lots of things in parallel.
Okay, so serious hardware. What does that mean in terms of actual response times? Like how fast are we talking?
You're talking pretty fast. For a decent-sized prompt, say 4,000 tokens, are getting a 1,000 token response back. Grok 4 averages about 10.2 seconds. Compare that to OpenAI o3, which is around 13.8 seconds, or Gemini 2.5 Pro at 15.1 seconds, so noticeably quicker. Even the heavy mode, which does deeper analysis, comes back at about 18 seconds, which is still remarkably fast for that level of processing.
10 seconds versus 15. Okay, that difference matters in some fields, I bet.
Absolutely. Think about algorithmic trading in finance. Milliseconds count. Or imagine interactive tools design software, educational platforms where you need instant feedback for it to feel smooth and useful. That speed is critical.
Right, so it handles text brilliantly and quickly. What about other types of information? We hear multimodal all the time now. Images, sound.
That's right. Grok 4 is already multimodal, handling both text and images. Its real strength right now seems to be in analyzing images. So it can look at complex architectural plans, make sense of data charts, understand screenshots, pull information out of visuals. That's super useful for engineers, designers, data analysts.
Analyzing images. Okay, what about creating them?
That's where it currently lags a bit. Compared to rivals like OpenAI's o3, its ability to generate creative, novel images isn't quite as strong yet. It understands images well, but maybe isn't the best digital artists, so to speak. But they're not stopping there. XAI has announced a voice mode is planned. They're aiming for March 2025. That'll add audio processing and generation to the mix.
Voice mode. Interesting. So what kinds of things could that unlock for users, both the image analysis and the future voice stuff?
Well, think about it. You could have reports automatically generated just by feeding it data charts, or get sophisticated analysis of engineering diagrams. And with voice mode, we could start seeing really dynamic, interactive voice assistants, maybe in education explaining complex topics, or in customer service offering much richer interactions than we have now. The potential's huge.
Okay, let's shift gears a little. Grok 4 isn't just making noise because it's smart or fast. There's also this ongoing discussion, maybe even controversy, around its approach to content moderation. This came up with earlier versions too, right?
It did, yeah. XAI has been pretty consistent about their philosophy here. They position Grok as a truth-seeking tool and aim for minimal censorship. It's a deliberate choice, contrasting with models like ChatGPT or Gemini, which tend to have more guardrails, especially around sensitive topics.
So what does minimal censorship mean in practice?
Well, it means Grok 4 is generally more willing to provide information on controversial subjects, political, social topics, where other models might refuse, citing safety policies. It can also, for example, analyze reactions on X to current events without necessarily filtering out strong opinions, aiming to give you a raw snapshot of what people are saying.
Right, so for some people that could be really valuable. Journalists, researchers, maybe?
Exactly. If you need unfiltered data for analysis, trying to understand public sentiment or track trends, it offers potentially direct access that might be harder to get elsewhere. But, and this is important, that openness comes with a responsibility. Because it will discuss more topics, you, the user, really need to be critical, evaluate the information carefully, and avoid just amplifying that information. The tool provides data, the judgment remains human.
Makes sense. It sounds like this less restrictive approach ties right into another unique feature. Its deep connection to the X platform. Is that where deep search comes in?
Precisely. Deep search is this really tight integration between Grok 4 and X. It gives the AI basically real-time access to everything happening on the platform, posts, trends, breaking news, the lot. And it's not just fetching tweets. Deep search is designed to synthesize this live stream of information, figure out contradictions, and generate concise, up-to-the-minute reports.
Okay, so give me an example. What could I ask it?
You could ask something like, what are people on X saying about the new iPhone right now? And instead of just links, you'd get a summary and analysis based on the very latest posts. Real-time sentiment. This is a key advantage. Grok has this native, built-in real-time access. Other models often have to rely on external search tools, which can be slower or not quite as current.
Got it. So who benefits most from that? Marketers, analysts?
Definitely. Marketers tracking campaigns, data analysts monitoring trends, journalists needing immediate reactions. Anyone who needs the absolute latest pulse on public discourse. It could really change how you consume social media info, make it much more dynamic, personalized, maybe even predictive, helping businesses anticipate market reactions.
Okay, it sounds incredibly powerful in many areas, but no tool is perfect, right? Every piece of tech has its limits. What are Grok 4's current weaknesses? Where does it still fall short?
Absolutely. It's important to be realistic. There are definitely limitations. First, as we mentioned, image generation. For creating new, creative images, it's still lagging behind some competitors. Great in analysis, not yet a top-tier creator. Second, something Elon Musk himself pointed out. It can sometimes lack common sense. In unusual situations or with ambiguous questions, or maybe understanding subtle cultural nuances, that's still a challenge for most AIs, frankly.
Right, the common sense gap. We see that a lot. What else?
Third, and this is a big one for many, the cost. To get the full power, especially Grok 4 Heavy, you need the Super Grok Heavy subscription. That's $300 a month.
Wow, $300 compared to...
Compared to around $20 a month for ChatGPT Plus or Claude Pro. So it's significantly more expensive. That's a major barrier for individuals or smaller teams. And finally, based on early reviews, for really high-level creative writing, nuanced storytelling, artistic prose models like Claude 4 might still have an edge. Grok seems stronger on factual, analytical, technical writing.
Okay, $300 a month definitely puts it in a different category. And the common sense thing, yeah. So considering these strengths and weaknesses, this blend of deep knowledge but occasional intuition gaps, who is this really for? Where does Grok 4 shine the brightest?
It's clearly positioned as a high-performance, almost specialized tool. It seems ideal for science and research. Think accelerating data analysis, like processing complex biomedical logs super fast, generating hypotheses from huge data sets, speeding up literature reviews. Also coding and software development. Those strong benchmark scores, plus that huge 256K token context window, meaning it can handle a lot of code at once, make it great for debugging, optimizing algorithms, maybe even generating significant chunks of applications.
So technical fields seem key. What about business?
Yes, business and optimization. That vending bench test showed real potential for optimizing strategies. Inventory, pricing, logistics. Things where data-driven optimization can lead to tangible profit increases. In education, especially at higher levels, it could offer really detailed academic-level explanations, showing its reasoning step by step, which could be a powerful learning tool. And for content creation, while maybe not for writing poetry, it excels at generating reports, analyses, technical documents, especially when leveraging that real-time data access. Great for data-driven content.
Okay, so it sounds like it's particularly good for technical pros, researchers, analysts, people needing deep, fast, data-heavy insights.
Pretty much. If you need top-tier reasoning, speed, and real-time data for complex analytical tasks, Grok 4 looks like a very powerful, albeit expensive option.
Right. So just to kind of wrap things up, Grok 4 isn't just Grok 3 with a new number. It feels like a pretty significant leap, especially in that core reasoning ability, the speed, and that unique real-time data hookup with X.
Definitely. And its arrival really underscores just how fast things are moving in AI right now. The competition is intense, and the pace of innovation is just incredible. We're seeing major advances almost constantly.
It really makes you think, and maybe this is the final thought for you, our listeners, to chew on. Is Grok 4, with all its power, a genuinely meaningful step towards that sci-fi dream of artificial general intelligence, AGI? Or is it, for now at least, more of an extremely powerful, highly specialized tool mainly for professionals in certain fields? What does this mix incredible knowledge but still those common sense blind spots tell us about the road ahead for AI? And maybe crucially, how will that $300 price tag shape who patters actually gets to benefit from these cutting edge capabilities? Lots to think about. We'll leave it there for this deep dive.
Subscribe to New Deep Dive